Hey everybody, welcome back to Bourbon Battles. I'm Joe.
I'm Chad.
Hey, today we've got a special episode coming for you. This is unheard of. We're going to do a blind battle. What you got? What's going on?
I don't know, bud.
Did you get bit by a spider?
I don't know.
Is that thing on?
Yeah. Something.
If this is your first time tuning in, this is fairly normal for him. So here's what we do on blind battle days. We go in the box.
What in the heck is going on?
I was going to say we should cut this and start over, but I can't.
I don't know what's going on.
You all right?
Yeah, a bee got after me or something.
You ever hear like that Chris Farley movie where he runs from the cops and drives in the cornfield and says, bees, bees, bees?
Right.
That's what you look like, Chris Farley running in the cornfield. So we told you all that to tell you this. Hey, we're going to do a blind battle today. It means we're going to take two whiskey expressions. We don't know what we're drinking, and we're going to review them blind. Tell them why we review them blind. We don't give a rat's ass what's on the label. We just like good whiskey, and we're going to be right back with you. Okay, everybody, we're right back with you. Chad's going to get the bucket, or I'm going to get the bucket. Somebody's going to get in the bucket, and we're going to find an envelope. I'll get in the bucket. I'm going to find an envelope here. I'm going to give it to Chad. It's got 2 sample bottles of whiskey in it. He's going to shake the shit out of it. He can't.
Well, you got to cuss.
You said ass in the last episode we filmed.
Ass is not a cuss word.
You didn't use it in it referring to a donkey.
Was I talking about you?
No, you said something tasted like ass.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a cuss word. So inside the envelope is an envelope with the answer key. Is that labeled? Are you sniffing the bottle?
This is Z, and this is 1.
Yeah. I know you didn't do it because they're not hieroglyphics.
Hydro? Is that with water? Is that things made with water?
Yeah, you cut them with a water jet. That's how the Indians did it.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we're going to get into these. We're going to give you our opinions, and we're going to go from there. This ought to be interesting. Sorry about the wasp.
I don't know what it was, but I know it was spider. I don't know. Pretty good.
It's got a decent nose on it. It's not.
All things being equal, it looks pretty good.
It's got. They both got great color.
Nose about the same.
If you came here looking for tasting notes because you saw the thumbnail of what we're drinking, of course you guys know what we're drinking. We don't have any idea. If you saw that, you see it now, and you want to know tasting notes, you're gonna have to go get them for somebody else.
Why?
Because we don't do tasting notes.
Why?
Because they're stupid.
Fair enough.
I get peanuts in Heaven Hill and Jim Beam. Chad thinks I'm batshit crazy.
Well, that's not the only reason I think that, but that's one of the reasons.
Chad gets tasting notes and things that we talk about when we're not filming, and I think he's crazy. Everybody has a different palate. But we both did think that rye we just tasted, it's like half rye, half rum, tastes like butterscotch. It's pretty tasty, wasn't it?
That is not good. God. Number 1 isn't good.
It tastes like
ethanol.
No?
It tastes like rubbing alcohol.
I don't. First of all, so this is what gets interesting, right? Chad will find a lot of whiskeys that you don't like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I very rarely find a whiskey that I just flat out don't like.
You know what concerns me is that whatever that is, come off my shelf.
It did.
I know. And I'm going to feel
you think your wife tricked us? And
no,
made a...
I think I'm going to feel like a real idiot when we read it because it'll probably be something that
I think it's pretty good.
Well, and it could be. I could have just got a bad way. Sorry.
It's either a very high rye or I don't think it is a rye. It's very spicy. And the finish is what intrigues me. The finish is sweet.
Still going, though. Have that patch?
If you really want it.
I do.
What are you going to do with it?
Sew to my vest.
Your keyboard warrior, Facebook bandit
vest. Yeah.
You know where I got that?
Mm-mm.
I don't either. I was asking.
See, I don't think that one's near as bad.
I'm ready to pick. You ready to pick?
No, I want to taste it again just to make sure it wasn't as god-awful as I thought. I got a little bit left. I just want to make sure it's not as god-awful as I thought it was.
They're both very high rye. They're both very that part, that initial And the high rye's not tasting.
What's it do to you?
Stop. It's
when you tasted it.
That I knew that was coming. It's they're very similar on the front of the palate, like that initial taste.
See, I don't think number 2 is near as bad as number 1. I just might have had something going on with number 1. We're gonna find out here directly. Nope.
You don't like it.
I don't like it.
I understand that you don't like it because I can taste it and tell you don't like it.
I don't like it.
So I say one of these is probably a lot better.
So do I.
Ready to? Yeah, we both picked 2.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, we just want to take a quick second to tell you about some interesting opportunities Bourbon Battles has for you, the viewer, and thank you so much for watching. Hey, if you go to our website at www.bourbonbattlesblind.com, right here you'll see it, you'll find links to all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikToks, and most importantly, Patreon. Make sure you check that out. Guys, join that Patreon community. It's $5 a month to get started, and you can be a part of an amazing community where we're doing some great things. We share whiskey. We do all kind of great stuff. It's very well worth your while. A couple other things we got for you. If you've never seen this before, this is Private Preserve. It's a wine preserver. I'm drinking a bottle of wine that's been open for over a month now, and it tastes like the day I bought it. But what's great about it, this is what you're interested in. You take your bottles of whiskey that you want to last for a very long time for long-term storage, take this bad boy off, give it a couple squirts, put your cap back on, and with that blend of nitrogen, CO2 and argon, it's going to preserve this for a very long time. You don't have to worry about your whiskey going bad. Also, make sure you check out the link for Hoosier Wood Guy, who's making these barrel heads. If you follow the link at our website to check these out, you get 10% off just for being a Bourbon Battles viewer. Hey, let's get back to the video. Yeah, we both picked 2.
Yeah. Whew.
But I actually, depending on the price of number 1,
I'm going to be embarrassed.
If it's $25,
I'm going to be embarrassed.
I'd buy it.
I'm going to be embarrassed.
I
can only imagine what it is. I want to see what this one is. You got number 2.
That's what we picked.
Right.
Yeah, let's see the one that Chad thought tasted like, what was it that guy said on our Facebook page?
There you go. I don't feel so bad about this. Benchmark Foolproof.
See, and I like it.
I don't feel so bad about it.
I usually get more vanilla in Benchmark Foolproof.
I don't feel so bad about it. It's the name honors early American explorers.
What's that? Hear that?
Surveyor marks are also called benchmarks. Mash bill's undisclosed, but we all know that it's Stag.
Stag mash bill.
Which is BT.
Same as Stag Junior.
BT1 or BT2?
Well, I'll put it on the screen there.
Buffalo Trace, obviously. Yeah, I didn't like it.
You know what's funny?
It's 125 proof, but I didn't like it.
Not that long ago, I sat down with Patreon member Tony, and we had a pour of. We didn't drink it blind, but we had 2 pours, and I thought the Benchmark was far better that day, right?
That's the difference.
That makes sense.
For lunch today, I had some fish and a couple oranges. I mean,
you had way more than that.
No.
I've known you you didn't have a piece of fish and an orange.
I had 2 pieces of fish.
How many oranges?
2.
No potato chips?
No potato chips.
Breakfast?
No. Okay. Yes, I did. I had an omelet.
So that particular day, we had a Benchmark Foolproof, and then we went back with a Eagle Rare.
Mm-hmm.
And we both said the Benchmark, for whatever reason, that day was way, way, way better than the Eagle Rare.
So what's number 2? Because we both picked it.
And we both said a lot better?
I said a lot better. Oh, boy.
Weller Foolproof. I do not have a bottle in the room. So that would make sense, right? Weller Foolproof is a true unicorn.
Yeah.
And it stood up this time. We've done Weller Foolproof.
The only difference, the problem is weeded versus rye. But
yeah. Weller Foolproof, again, is out of Buffalo Trace Distillery.
It's 114
proof.
Yeah.
Non-chill filtered. So we did, correct me if I'm wrong, Weller Foolproof, which is like, what's that retail for? $50, $60?
At retail, yeah.
Something like that, maybe even less.
But any place you find it, somebody wants
$800,
$400.
We did it blind against
46.
Maker's 46 or cast strength.
It was 46 cast strength.
Those proofs are similar, and if I'm not mistaken, we picked
overwhelmingly
Maker's Mark.
Overwhelmingly.
So there's.
You know why?
Because it's better.
That's a fact.
It's good. The Weller's good.
So this is a double Horsies.
Hear that?
I mean, double.
That's not a horse you hear clomping in the background. That's a unicorn.
That's a unicorn and a horse.
Listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So here's the point of this, right? This kind of surprises me. I would have thought that the Benchmark Foolproof got higher accolades from us.
Man, I'm telling you, I did not like it. And
You didn't like it at all.
Not even a little bit. I wouldn't drink it right now again if I had to. But
so what we're going to do is we're going to get Weller Foolproof back in there.
Yeah.
And see if it's different.
Yeah.
So,
it will be.
I mean, it's a batch product. It's not a single barrel product. But even with batch products, Chad's bottle is probably out of a different. I mean, they should be fairly similar. But there's a lot of. Is that Mike?
I don't think so.
How do you know?
I'm not looking.
No. So, but we've done Benchmark Foolproof for you. And I think you liked it. Okay.
All right.
So every day's different. You can't open a bottle of whiskey and taste it today and say, I don't like that. Don't give it away.
You got to go back to it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, don't give it away. Like, hey, look, hopefully my buddy Kurt, you know Kurt, we came out fishing at your house. Kurt got into whiskey. This is a great example, and hopefully you're watching, Kurt, because I think it's funny, and I got you for some whiskey. And Kurt will think it's funny, too.
He don't care.
No. So Kurt started getting into bourbon and gets up to, let's say, 15, 20 bottles, right? Which is that's a lot of whiskey, still, in my opinion. This is dumb. That's sensible. What you do is dumb. Probably dumber than what I do. But so Kurt gets into whiskey and gets a Old Forester 1920. That's a higher proof.
I'm kind of responsible for this.
You are, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So he's like, hey, I've got these 2 whiskeys, and it was a Wild Turkey Rare Breed, which I really like. It's just not as good as Willet Purple Top if you watched our last blind battle.
We'll leave that up for the viewers.
Yeah. So, hey, leave us a message in the comments. Who do you think was right, me or Chad, when it comes to the Willet Rare Breed? I'm guessing the majority, overwhelming people will say the Rare Breed's better, especially at the price point.
Well, if they've got any sense, they will.
You don't have any sense. So anyway, Kurt says, hey, I've got these 2 whiskeys, right? So you grew up drinking whiskey, right? And it's typically like 80 to 90 proof.
But I grew up drinking one kind of whiskey.
We both did. Jim Beam White Label. So it's 80 to 90 proof, everything you drink, with the exception of some Wild Turkey 101. It's mostly shots. And,
I used to drink a lot of Wild Turkey 101.
And Kurt was a big, like, Bird Dog flavored whiskey guy, right? It tastes good. And then he starts to come over here and taste different whiskeys, right? And I gave him some Evan Williams 12-year. And he I think, hopefully, and leave us a message, Kurt, if I'm completely wrong. He's been on the show. I think that kind of changed his perspective on bourbon, on how good it can be.
It'll change a lot of people's perspective.
Yours.
Change a lot of people's perspective.
It was the first nice bottle I bought, right? It's like, oh, remember when I called you from Louisville and said, oh my God, you won't believe what I just had. This whiskey thing is amazing. And you're like, Evan Williams 12-year, because you knew where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
So you already knew. You were into it years before me.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Well, I've only been doing this for like 3 years, bud.
I know.
Is that good?
Yeah.
It's like an average in a bottle of whiskey every 2.75 days over 3 years. So he's like, here, take these whiskeys. I can't drink them. They're too hot. Rare Breed and 1920, right? And then he goes and he starts experimenting with different whiskeys like we all did. And then like literally 3 months later, he's like, you won't believe what I found. Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. This stuff is amazing. I said, I told you, just hang on to the whiskey. You're going to come around to the higher proof stuff. And that can be said true for a lot of different whiskeys. Your palate changes.
Well, you just the same old saying, you're chasing the dragon, you know, you're trying to get that initial first drink that you drank that was good. You're trying to relive that. And
you can't.
So the only way you can do it is up in the proof. It's that way with everything.
Or finding something crazy like Parker's Heritage Orange Curacao. There's a reason my bottle is almost full. Because it's like a very special treat and it needs to last forever.
You drink that on Sundays after Easter?
Sunday sipping.
I doubt it.
Huh? But most people don't like that bottle. I think you do.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
So Chad said he's responsible for all this, and he is, because he invited my wife over for dinner. My wife and I over for dinner.
It was good though, wasn't it?
And your mom was there.
Was she?
Is she watching? Yeah. Is she watching this? Hi, Beverly. So we all came over and did a tasting, and Megan kind of ran it, to be honest. She was the brains behind the operation.
She was the curator, but I don't know that she was the brains.
And I don't remember how many expressions we had, but
8.
You think?
I know.
My wife didn't drink because she didn't like whiskey. So it was, you didn't, Megan didn't. It was just me.
I drank.
You probably did. But me and your mom and your stepdad, right?
Uh-huh.
And we all picked Elijah Craig small batch.
You know why?
Because it's really good.
And it's only $20.
Right. And you're a cheap ass. But so then fast forward a couple weeks later, a month or two later, we come back over for dinner, my wife and I, and you let me try a Maker's Mark. Yeah, we're getting to that. But the Maker's Mark, I don't know if it was probably a store pick, right? And I didn't even know what
probably.
And I didn't even know what that meant.
I think it was actually
or a barrel finish
SP4X or whatever. I think it was one of those.
And I'm like,
wood finishing series.
And I'm like, that's really good. And you're like, hey, try these too. So Chad had brought 3 bottles of whiskey up for me to taste.
From the bunker?
From the bunker. And it was some Maker's Mark something. That's all I remember. And a 1792 sweet wheat and a Parker's Heritage Orange Curacao. And that's kind of when I fell in love with this idea.
And I'll be damned if a month goes by and you ain't got them all.
Literally. So that was like on whatever day it was. The next weekend, my wife and I go to Florida. And this is the only time I've purchased a bottle at a crazy price. We go into this liquor store in Bradenton, Florida. And I'm like, oh my God, look what they got. They've got 1792 sweet wheat. I don't know what that is other than that we had it at your house.
And I liked it.
I think it's special. And
that's what was getting after my neck. Anyway.
Pecker Nat.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought this bottle for $200. And of course my wife's like, oh, that's for your birthday. And
I, of course, say you're an idiot, but then you liked it. So
I still don't really regret that.
I'm guilty of the same kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't regret that. It's a $35 bottle of whiskey. Now, in this room.
Where? Exactly.
Not here.
Not
I've
anywhere.
Never seen it.
Not anywhere.
So I wanted it, and it meant something to me. And it will always mean something to me. And then, so we literally decided, when we drive home that week from Florida, we stay the night in Bowling Green. That particular time, I said, hey, let's go to this Heaven Hill place. Because you'd got me hooked on this dumb ass whiskey collecting thing. Because it's your fault. So we go to Heaven Hill. I didn't know a lot about whiskey at the time. You didn't need to.
You just know you tasted that before, and they had it for sale.
By this point, I've probably got 12 to 20 bottles. Total.
More than you should.
Right. And this has only been a matter of a month since this first initial thing. I've been down to the Evan Williams experience. I got in a 12-year and got my first bottle of Blanton's and this kind of thing. And so we go to Heaven Hill, and the guy in front of me in line is an electrician. Do you remember this story?
Mm-hmm.
And we're there several hours before they open because that's how it used to be there. And we have this conversation. I'm an electrician. Chad's an electrician. We're all electricians. So we're having this conversation. Really neat gentlemen. And we get in there like, oh my God, they have Parker's Heritage. I didn't know there was more than one kind of Parker's Heritage. So I got lucky.
Every year, bud.
So I got lucky that it was the Orange Curacao, which was the previous year's release.
They had extra because nobody likes it.
Nobody likes it. And we get up there and they sold the last bottle to the guy in front of me, the electrician. And he knew I was really excited because I told him the story. He's like, sell it to that guy. Pretty cool, right? So
he lived in Bardstown too, so he can go back the next day and get some.
Yeah, he's got plenty of it.
Right.
So the moral of the story is in the first week I started collecting whiskey, or the first very short period of time, I got my 2 unicorns that I still love today. And I like those bottles a lot. So
we're 17 minutes into it, bud. You done?
Drinking bourbon's supposed to be fun. Do with your friends. Do it responsibly.
That's it.
What else?
Don't drink and drive.
Oh, if you drink, don't drive. Do the watermelon crawl.